Hello, Bookworms. Welcome to the Bookwyrms podcast. I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Emily.
And welcome to our first podcast. In this podcast, we're just going to talk about all of our favorite books, all of our favorite bookish themes, maybe take you with us to some bookish events. And yeah, we're excited for you guys to follow along with us in our love for fantasy worlds and things that don't really exist that we wish they did.
Yeah, I figured every time we get together, we end up talking about books for hours and hours. I think there was one Sunday after church we sat in Panera and literally had to make ourselves leave to stop talking about it. So we figured, why not just record it and put it out there?
Oh, yeah.
Since we talk about it anyways.
We have a lot of thoughts.
Yes.
So why not share those thoughts with the entire world and talk about our theories, our opinions, what we think. Before we start, a big topic for this podcast is going to be Onyx Storm. So if you have not read Onyx Storm, you've not read Fourth Wing, you've not read Iron Flame, major spoilers, come back to this episode, go read your book, go listen to your audiobook, and then come back. We will be here for when you are ready.
Or if you haven't read any of them and you're just here for the vibes, then you can stay.
You can stay. If you don't plan on reading this book, that's fine, but highly recommended. So before we dive into Onyx Storm, we want to talk a little bit about the books we are currently reading. We're reading a lot of the same books right now. Mm-hmm. I read Lights Out not too long ago, and I just finished Quicksilver yesterday. And I believe that's what you're reading now.
Yeah, so I finished Lights Out recently, and then I am currently reading / listening to Quicksilver. And I think I'm about 10 chapters into it right now. So
I'm so excited for you to be done with it so I can actually talk to you about everything. Because so this book was I think it was on the Barnes & Noble top 25 list of 2024. In the beginning of it, I didn't know how to feel. I mean, I could tell I liked the way the plot was going. It's got a Morley Gray brooding MMC, which is, you can't go wrong with that.
Typical.
But I wasn't sure how I felt about it. But then when I got about halfway, I was like, oh, okay. This is good.
So I like it a lot already because things are kind of messy. I think in some recent books, especially for the Fourth Wing series and Onyx Storm, they're kind of established friendships to where they're all kind of buddy-buddy. They're almost too nice to each other sometimes. I know they have, they're deeply bonded, so they're, empathetic towards each other. But in Quicksilver, where there's some history to some of the characters, even straight out of the beginning, where you're this is not a very smooth relationship that they're having. There's been some trials, and they're not real happy with each other. And I kind of like that it's a little messy.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad for Ceres when she first finds herself in this Fae realm, because everyone knows each other, everyone has this history, they're all talking about it, and she's just there.
Yeah, it's she married into a family where there's all this history and drama, and you're just don't really know what's going on.
No one's filling her in.
Yeah.
And not only does she not know, she's the only measly human. She's got a lot against her in the beginning of this book, because there's all this stuff that's happening with Kingfisher that he can't talk about, that clearly Ren and Everlyn are mad at him about, but the reader has no idea because Ceres doesn't know. But that's kind of fun when you get to kind of be confused along with the main character. It's kind of like Violet in Iron Flame. A lot of people still are confused about runes. 3 books in, a big topic on TikTok is that everyone is still confused about the runes, and that's because Violet is still confused about the runes.
Yeah, I'm okay with being confused if the main character is confused. I don't want all the answers at once.
Yeah, we can learn with them.
Don't lore dump on me. Let's figure it out. Let's feel it out.
Gradually learn like you would if you were really in that situation.
Yeah. So I kind of gave up on audiobooks a while ago because they make me fall asleep at the wheel when I'm driving. But I found out that if there's ones that are dual narrated, there's a guy and a girl, I can listen
So
to it a
much
lot better,
better.
because I can listen to like podcasts and stuff in the car and be totally fine. Like if it's more conversational, then it's good. Like I can stay more in tune because I'm not a very like auditory person. So I like that there's two voices and it's not like a girl trying to do guy voices and a guy
Sometimes
trying to do
it's
girl
so
voices.
cringy. There was an audiobook I was listening to recently. I, for the life of me, can't remember what it was, but the girl was trying to do the guy's voice, and it was just, or no, it was it was the regular audiobook for Iron Flame when I was doing my reread to prepare for Onyx Storm. I don't like in the original audiobook, not the graphic audio, but the original, it's just the one voice actress, and I do not like the voice that she tries to do for Xaden. It sounded like she was trying to like just growl like an animal, and I'm like, I don't like this at all. This is not what I have in my brain. I don't like
Immersion ruined.
Oh yeah, the pictures I have in my brain are so askew. It's not good. But the Lights Out audiobook had the dual narrators.
I like the guy narrator a lot. Me too. Like his voice is nice.
No, I liked it. I think that was really needed for that audiobook, because that book already, it's called like a dark romance rom-com, and I feel like you need to have the two voice actors to really pull it off, because like the amount of like the weird sarcasm and the funny jokes and the like stuff that's
even
meant
the
to be
dual
cringy.
like POV, it would be weird if it was like his point of view, but then it was the same person.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I enjoyed Lights Out. Me and you've talked about this. I didn't love it as much as I think most of Book Talk did, because it felt like there wasn't a lot of plot, and then they tried to throw in this crazy plot like around 10 chapters before the end of the book, and any conflict that arose was solved by the next chapter
immediately,
and the build up, there just wasn't any.
Yeah, so spoiler alert for this book. As we talk about this, well, general thoughts. My thoughts are, I thought it was really entertaining, at least. I enjoyed listening. I listened to the audiobook of it. Do I think it was the best written piece of literature there is? Not even close.
No.
I mean, it was written well enough for me to enjoy it, but there are some crimes that this author committed in this book that I feel very strongly about. And that is the use of millennial cringy slang.
The comments on, oh my gosh, when she's talking about the comments on Josh's
and she's
page,
like reading off the
I
TikTok
was
comments,
like the comments that are like, well, there goes my ovaries. I was like, you couldn't have chosen anything else. I agree.
It's really
I hated
bad.
that.
So I wrote down some of the words that were used multiple times that I think are criminal.
Okay.
The phrase lizard brain.
She uses that a lot.
Yeah, like more, at least 2 or 3 times. Like, I think she's like sitting in the sun or something, and she's like, "Oh, my lizard brain is happy now," and I'm like, maybe that's an inside thought that should have stayed there. Well, I guess we're reading her inside thoughts, but I don't know. That was weird. She refers to, this one could be forgivable. She refers to the cat making biscuits. I feel like that's pretty common. Also kind of weird to write, I think.
I will say I loved, what was his name? Fred?
Yes.
I liked Fred.
I do love Fred.
I loved Fred. He might have been my favorite character out of the whole book.
Honestly. Yeah. Smash. She was like, there was something that was said or done, and she said, smash. Next question. And I'm like,
I know. I hated that
why
too.
are we, like, this is not going to age well at all.
No. Yeah, with the very, like, popular, like, it's not even Gen Z, like you said. It's millennial language.
Also, shooketh. Haven't heard that one in a while.
Maybe authors should refrain from using like any sort of like
because
hot
I think
lingo.
Like the readability of it is like if you read this again in 10 years, it's gonna be even worse.
Oh my gosh, people are gonna be like, what's
can
that?
you imagine?
What's shooketh?
Yeah, like I think when it's written, I don't know, like a lot more fantasy books they don't have, because it's not this world. And maybe, like, I don't read a lot of, like,
that.
modern romance things, so I don't know if that's a common thing
That's
to
my
use.
least favorite thing about modern romances is,
The lingo
like,
and
how modern everything is. And, like, there's books that I've read where they're like, oh, I pulled out my phone and started scrolling through Instagram. And I'm like, why would I want to read about that when I could do that right now?
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
don't care for it. It's so cringy to me. I'm like, I don't care about this. Give me, like, a castle and, like, a royal court and, like, dragons and stuff. Give me stuff that, like, I can't experience in real life, please.
Like,
that's why I'm doing this.
Like, this is definitely, that book, Lights Out, was way different than anything I've read in a very long time, if ever. Like, I pretty much only read fantasy books at this point.
Me too.
And so I don't know if, like, other romance books or, like, the modern romance ones are written like that or not. But I thought it was criminal.
Some of the ones
so
that, because I
cringy.
was definitely a romance girly before I found romantasy and just fantasy. And there are some authors that I feel like do it really well. They might have some modern lingo, but, like, I feel like it's done really well. But there are others that I've read where I DNF'd them and I was like, I can't do this. Oh, I hate it. Yeah. So you just got to find the author. I think it depends.
Like, I think it was really entertaining. It was funny. I just can't get past the cringe.
I posted on TikTok, like, if I would have read the physical book, I think I would have hated it.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a massive cringe fest without the delivery of the voice actors. That
like,
really saved it.
I was looking up some, like, reviews on it yesterday too, and, like, here's a spoiler warning for, like, the plot now that we're, into it. Basically, there's this, in the middle of the book, there's this whole accidental murder plot. Like, this guy breaks into her house.
It's so stupid the way
and
he
they
dies.
Accidentally kill him because the guy, this makes no sense to me. So the guy, the male main character, his dad was a serial killer. And so he is determined to not be anything like his dad, right? So this random guy who is a bad person, long story short, breaks into the girl's house while they're both there. The guy, the MMC, punches him, knocks him out, and they're, like, figuring out what to do with him. They get this whole idea, and so they get him tied up. They put tape over his mouth, put him in the car to take him there. They get there, and then realize that he's dead because the guy, whose father is a prolific serial killer, accidentally put the duct tape over the guy's nose and mouth.
It's the most anticlimactic murder
I
I've
literally,
ever read
like,
about.
I had to pause the book and be like, are you kidding me?
I know. I was like, that's so lame.
Yeah.
That's so
And
lame.
it's like, really, like, it is funny. It's so ironic because the guy, like, did not want to kill him. Like, they were going to take him somewhere else where, like, the family of one of the guy's past victims could, like, take care of it themselves. So they're like, oh, we don't have to have blood on our hands. And then they accidentally kill him. I'm like, how do you not
Those last
realize?
10 chapters are a bit of a mess.
Yeah, and also, like, this guy is deep into, like, knowing about murder and, like, gore and bodies, and, like, his dad literally did it. And how do you not know not to put tape over somebody's nose and mouth?
Yeah, I agree. That was interesting. The book is, like, definitely, if you're just wanting, like, a little fun, quick read, go for it. But if you're wanting, like, oh, I just need some plot, I need some suspense, I need some story, don't read it. No, it's very much, to me, it was a fun palate cleanser. I read it immediately after reading Onyx Storm. And that's what it was for me. It was just, like, a fun palate cleanser where I could read it without thinking too hard.
Yeah, I think that's why it had so many mixed reviews, because, like, as, like, a novel, not great written, not great plot, not great pacing, but it was entertaining. And so, like, the good comments were like, yeah, this was fun to listen to or to read. And then there were also the comments that were, like, deep diving into, like, all the cringy writing and, like, the weird... So, like, they kill this guy and then she happens to have a family member in the Italian mob. And so then they take care of everything. And it's like, oh, how convenient.
Wow, okay, I know when she's like, we're gonna go to my... Oh, I don't even know how she says it to him, but she's like, my uncle's the leader of the mob. It's like, where are we?
And
What's
then,
going on?
So apparently, okay, so there is a second book
I
in
know.
this. Apparently it follows Nico, who is like her cousin,
Oh.
one of the mob guys.
Oh, it follows him? Oh, then I don't care
Apparently,
to read it.
I was reading. That's what
I'm not gonna read
the
it.
review said. I don't think I can. I don't know, but the review said that that's why she threw in this random sort of thing. But I think you could have just written a second book just about different people and not like you can keep similar themes or whatever. But
they could have pulled, they kind of could have pulled a Haunting Adeline where if you've not read it, the main female character finds out that her grandmother had a stalker, and there's a spin-off novel that's about her grandmother and her stalker's story. So I feel like she could have done a spin-off of the dad, the serial killer dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would have been so much better.
Yeah.
That would have been way more interesting just because, like, I mean, we learn a little bit about his dad, but, like, it seems to be such a huge source of trauma. Or it could have been a prequel of him growing up with a serial killer dad. I think that would have been way more interesting.
Yeah, than this random
Italian guy in the mob. The mafia.
It's so weird. But yeah. And also another thing that bothered me is they move so fast in their relationship.
Yes. I didn't like that.
By the end of the book, is it the epilogue, the last, I don't know, whatever the very last thing is, they get engaged, okay? This is only like maybe a month after they first meet, and he like breaks into her house.
And he's picking her up at the hospital 3 chapters in.
Yeah.
And she gets in the car with him and eats the snacks he brought. Like, I thought it was kind of funny.
And then they become boyfriend and girlfriend, and it's like, this does not seem like a person that would do that. Like,
no. And I don't know if fantasy books have just ruined this for me. Using the term boyfriend and girlfriend in books, I hate it for some reason. I'm like, oh,
it's not deep enough.
So
it's not
cringy. See, that's why I like Xaden in this book hates it when they're referred to as boyfriend and girlfriend. And he's like, it doesn't have the permanent tone that embodies us. And I'm like, I agree. I don't like it. Like when they, for some reason in this book, they were like little middle schoolers. Like, now I will say that the moment Josh in the audiobook when he goes, my girlfriend, I did think that was funny. But other points in the book where they do that, I'm like, you are 20-something-year-old adults with careers. It's
like, I just don't buy it. Like, it's just, it really does read like a Wattpad story sometimes.
Yeah, AO3.
Yeah.
No, it's Wattpad. It's not even AO3 quality.
And then
Sorry.
I thought another thing that was a little bit cringy to me, and like I get why she didn't say like the name of the app that she found him on as like TikTok. She said
the social media
I opened up my favorite app. And it's like, we all know it's TikTok.
They keep saying the social media app.
Yeah, so either like make up a new name for it, or just say TikTok.
Call it Musical.ly. It's not Musical.ly anymore.
There you go.
No, because they even say I got on my FYP.
Yeah.
We know what it is. How can you say FYP and not TikTok?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hated that too. The social media app.
I don't know. They're both they're both really stupid. The main characters, really dumb.
Josh and Allie,
yeah.
Which, by the way, someone commented on my TikTok and they were like, I read the audiobook and then I found out how the FMC spells her name.
How does she spell
I don't
it?
know. I'm actually going to look it up. Apparently it's weird.
I saw somebody type it as ALY.
See, but that's normal, is it not?
I don't think it's that weird.
Lights out. Josh. No, it's just ALY. Yeah, ALY. Maybe it's because it's not a double L.
Alyssa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, someone commented on my TikTok and was like, the FMC spells her name so weird. And I asked, how does she spell it? And I don't even think they commented back, but I was like, I was expecting something wild.
Go. I mean, it's not like it's one of the versions of like
read a fantasy book.
Kaylee or
and then
Caitlin.
The like KAYLEIGH.
Yeah.
KAILEI. Yeah. Like read a fantasy book and then like the
That's
last
so
2
fair.
fantasy books I've read, they've had to have pronunciation guides at the beginning. We got Saris and Rave and
see where I'm listening to. Or did you read the physical copy of Quicksilver?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where I'm listening to it, I'm just at the mercy of whatever they tell me.
Yes. I'm sure that's correct, is
Yeah.
whatever's in the audiobook.
Yeah, but it's also like, and I guess, you know, on the flip side, there's sometimes when you're reading the physical book and then you listen to somebody, like Throne of Glass, there's some words in there where I'm like, what are you
when
saying?
I found out Otterlin wasn't a darlin,
Yeah.
my mind was blown.
Or Adarlin.
Yeah, and
I'm like, what is
Endovier.
Otterland? Like, I don't
Yes,
know.
and Endovier, the way they really enunciate the like the D and the O, I was like, oh, that's weird. And then it's Selena Sardothian. I thought it was Sardothian. Like, it kind of just blows your mind a little bit when you read it, and you're like,
yeah,
whew, I've been wrong. This
yeah.
whole
It
time.
feels like you just renamed this person that I've gotten to know.
Yeah, like you changed my friend's name, and like Besgaeth, I thought it was Biscaith when I first read it.
Basgath, I think. In my head.
Yeah, we need the audiobooks, honestly. They be doing us some favors. Or I really appreciate the authors that will put in like a pronunciation guide. Some of them, I will admit, I'm like, I don't care, I'm pronouncing this wrong. Like, I like my pronunciation better sometimes.
Yeah.
But it helps.
Yeah, and speaking of things that authors add in, you read When the Moon Hatched, is that what it was called? Okay, and the glossary that
it has
had?
like I didn't actually count how many pages it was, but it was like a 15-ish page glossary because this author created like a whole new science for the way the world works and the days work. And I read like the first 2 pages of it, and then I got really scared. But I just found a TikTok that was like, don't read the glossary. I'm just going to tell you everything you need to know before you read it, because it's an intimidating read. It's book 1 in a series, almost 700 pages with a 15-page glossary.
Is there a second book out yet, or is it?
It comes out October 7th. It was so good. You should read that one.
I started to listen
good.
to it, and then it was getting into the lore of the like literal creation of the world, like
that's
the
just
gods
the
and stuff.
That's just the preface.
And I was
the preface.
like, I'm not gonna remember any of this if I don't.
No, I recommend.
Read it.
I'll try and find the TikTok I found, because she explains all that. Because it goes into like the different gods, and they are each like a goddess of wind, a goddess of water, a god of and like
that I thought was like
she
simple
explains
enough.
all that.
Yeah,
she explains
but
all that.
I was
with
like never gonna
the elemental
the names.
beads and like the video I found explains all that. I'll send it to you. It's really helpful. All right, it is time to get into Onyx Storm.
The meat and potatoes.
The meat and potatoes of this episode. First of all, how did you feel about Onyx Storm? Like, what were your thoughts? I really loved it. I really need to do a reread, but I learned my lesson with Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. If I'm going to do a reread, I need some time in between. So I've yet to do it yet, but I need to, because there was a lot in this book, and a lot of people are confused.
Yeah. Overall, I think I liked it better than Iron Flame, because it felt like it made more sense to me. Iron Flame, like, and this is coming from somebody who has not reread any of the books, so if I were to go back and read Iron Flame now, I think I would catch a lot more than I did the first time reading it. But it was just kind of a lot thrown at you in Iron Flame. This one, I feel like it's better, like, building off of now, like, our new information that we have, and them, like, going out and actively discovering new things, rather than, like, tons of like lore drop all at once. Because to be fair, I mean, at the end of Fourth Wing and then going into Iron Flame, things like completely flipped. Like everything they knew just completely flipped. So I guess it makes sense that it was a little bit like all at once, but I liked that this one like built on it a little bit better than Iron Flame did.
Iron Flame, I know a lot of people had some gripes about it, that it kind of was just like all over the place. And I agree with that to an extent. I still really liked it. I know some people did not like it at all because of that, but I still really enjoyed it. Onyx Storm, just going to like the different kingdoms and getting like the insights to like Xaden being Venin and what that's like for someone to actually turn, and then even like Jack Barlow. Like, I just feel like we get so much good information, but it's not all just like a huge big like conglomerate of like crumpled up information just kind of thrown at you. I feel like it was done really well. Yeah,
I think so too.
But like we said, a lot of people have been confused about this. I've been posting about it on my TikTok quite a bit, and a lot of people have been in my comments like asking, what the heck was this? What the heck was this? One of the biggest things I would love to talk about in the beginning is a lot of people are just now discovering that Jasenia is deaf.
And see, I don't know how you got this far.
And didn't
Not to be
realize it.
shamey,
Yeah.
but it's pretty explicit with the fact that, like, she uses sign language when talking to her. And I know some people said, well, we just thought all the scribes use sign language and they didn't talk. No, like, other scribes definitely talk to them.
Yeah, like Markham, like the whole leader of the scribes, like, he talks a lot.
Yeah. So, I guess if you were reading really fast or something, but it's also, like, kind of a plot point of Sawyer is, like, learning...
Yeah, he's learning
sign language because she uses sign language and, you know, he wants to talk to her. And then didn't it also talk about Liam knew sign language?
Yeah,
when he would go to the library with her?
Which I will admit, side note, I'm almost curious to see if that becomes a bigger plot point later, because somehow all the marked ones know sign language, and every time we learn of a new marked one, like every time Violet brings a new marked one to the archives, and is talking to Jasenia, her shock is written on the page at how she's shocked that they know. So I don't know if we're gonna, like, if that's going to become something later.
I didn't catch that.
But yeah, but like also, yeah, like it's a big thing about how every person that Violet brings in knows sign language.
Yeah. And also, like, even in Onyx Storm, she talks about, like, translating for...
Yeah, and I think her and Jasenia and Sawyer, while he's in the infirmary, they talk a lot through letters. Yeah, and like, so I had someone in my TikTok comments yesterday, actually, because I posted a video responding to some comments, because a lot of people in my comments were like, wait, Jasenia's deaf? And so I made a video about it, and someone came in my comments and was like, what proof do you have for this? It's pretty wild that you're stating this as fact when this is just a theory. And I responded,
it's 100%
and I was like,
not a theory.
I was like, Google it.
I mean, does it ever say the words, she's deaf?
I don't know. It also doesn't say the words, all scribes have taken an oath of silence.
Yeah, but, like, it's very obvious that, like, they all speak to her and, like, that's how they communicate. Yeah. So what, you know?
Because even the one that, what's his name? The scribe that falls asleep at the door. Like, she talks to him in the first book. And, like, she doesn't sign to any of the other scribes at all. And, like, and I think that it's not far-fetched because Rebecca Yarros has made it clear she wants to, like, put as many diverse people in her books as possible. So yeah, Jasenia's deaf. So sorry if this is how you're learning. So sorry if this is how you're finding out, but she's deaf. Don't feel too bad if you didn't pick up on that.
And if this is the hill that you want to die on and you think she's not deaf, go back and read it.
Go back, just Google it. Yeah. Like, that's what I've said to so many people in my comments. Some people haven't responded. Some people have been like, oh, okay. Okay, huge question for end of Onyx Storm. Who do you think the brother is?
Okay, real answer, I think it's Bodhi.
Okay.
Because we know, like, the clues that we've been given is that it's somebody missing at the end of the book. It's somebody, Rebecca Yarros said in a interview that it's somebody who feels like they're consistently, like, not enough, or, like, they don't compare to Xaden. And then Xaden tells us that it's the last person that he expected to turn, and that he's watched him struggle for 5 months. So I think it has to be Bodhi, along with the fact that at the end he marries Violet, so that, like...
Yeah, I think there wouldn't have been anyone else to leave it to.
Yeah, so now Tyrandor is left to her.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really stuck between if I think it's Bodhi or Garrick. I lean a little bit more towards Garrick, but I'm really open to it being Bodhi. The only reason I lean towards Garrick is, so where it could really be either, like I said, but at the end of the book, where Bodhi and Garrick are at the end is both like, it's very up in the air because in Imogen's chapter, like Garrick just kind of storms off.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
He storms off. He was like burnt out. He couldn't distance wield anymore. But in that same chapter, Bodhi's on the ground throwing up. Like that's the last time we see both of them.
Well, Bodhi doesn't he get? He's with Violet when they face Theophany. Is that your name? Theophany. When they're facing
Stephanie. Everyone's been calling her Stephanie.
Stephanie. Stephanie. When they're facing Stephanie, Bodhi and Violet are together, and then Bodhi's dragon hauls him off away from it because he's like ready to fight, and his dragon's like, "No, we're getting out of here," and just picks him up and takes him.
Right.
I think that's the last time we see him. Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I need to reread it, but. So, reasons why I think that it is more so Garrick. Garrick is one of the only people in the very last chapter, it's explicitly mentioned that he is one of the people that are missing. And Rebecca Yarros did say, pay attention to who's missing. Yeah. We assume Bodhi is also missing.
Yeah, because we don't know where he went.
But it's not explicitly said.
So, who else do we think is missing?
So, I believe that because like I said, it's not confirmed, but everyone is assuming it is Auric, Garrick, Xaden, and Bodhi, and it was Violet until she came back. Which I want to get into that in a second, because I want to talk about Imogen in that whole thing. But the reason that I'm leaning so heavily into Garrick is because I'm wondering if we're going to see some other things from Bodhi, because in the book, when Violet finds out that all marked ones typically have a second signet, she asks Bodhi, "What's your second signet?" Which was such a fun throwback to Iron Flame when she looks at Xaden and goes, "What's your second signet?" And that was such a huge explosion. And then she asks Bodhi, and it's just like, "What's your second signet?" And he says, "I don't have one," just like Xaden. I think that was Bodhi either saying he is an intrinsic, but like lying.
Because his is the one that counters signets, right?
Yes.
Is Bodhi?
Yes. So, and that's some people's...
Which is very vague, and I don't understand how that works.
That's some people's theory for him being the one that turned, because he couldn't counter Venin signets. But if he turned Venin, he could. I assume. That's what we're assuming. So that is a pretty good theory. I totally understand that. And then some people think that it was Garrick because he was burnt out and couldn't distance wield anymore, and he was at the end of his rope. But I am curious because in Iron Flame we learn that if you have bonded to a dragon that is the descendant of one of your relatives' ancestors, there will be so much power that you will either gain a second signet or you will go mad with the power. We've not seen that in anybody yet. That is a big... That's big. That's not something that I think we should skip over.
So is that added on to... Because Xaden's... Sigale is from one of his...
She's a direct descendant from his
So does that mean he gets a third signet? Or...
I want to talk about that too, because there is so much confusion around the second signets and the marked ones. So we'll go ahead and go into that. I think it might be Garrick is the brother because he's missing at the end. And I think that we're saving... I think Bodhi went with them. I think that was an argument. Honestly, I do. Because the whole book, Bodhi has said he does not want Tyrandor.
Yeah.
And so I think that he was like, leave it to Violet. I don't want it. I'm going with you. I think we're going to see Bodhi maybe go crazy if he doesn't have a second signet. I think we're going to see that. Okay. The marked ones and the relics. This is a big confusion point for a lot of people. And a lot of people have tried to claim that Rebecca Yarros isn't a good writer with how much her readers are confused. I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think it's kind of fun when we can all be a little confused together and talk about how we interpret things.
Yeah.
And I think she does it on purpose, guys. I think she purposely is making us confused. I don't think that she...
I agree. I think it would feel a little bit more clear, like, that the confusion is meant to be if she talked about, like, if Violet said that she was also confused about certain things. Like, I feel like towards the beginning and, like, going into Iron Flame, she kind of voiced that confusion of like, I don't really know how this works. I don't know how to do this.
Violet's confused a lot. She's very smart, but she's also she's okay when admitting that she does not understand.
But I feel like between Iron Flame and this and Onyx Storm, she has read a lot of books and not really shared any knowledge with us as the readers.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't like said, "Oh, I noticed this thing, but I don't fully understand it." Mm-hmm. And so I think it's like, I don't know what I don't know at this point. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of things that are just kind of mentioned and thrown out, and I'm like, wait, has this been explained, or are we not meant to know this yet? Mm-hmm. I think that's where the confusion is.
And I think it's okay as the reader having to like be like, okay, this is thrown in and I'm confused, but I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll sit there and I'll grapple with that. I'm like, am I just stupid? Or am I supposed to be confused?
Yeah, again,
Most
like, I'm okay
with
being confused. I like being confused if I know that that's where I'm meant to be. But if it like, sometimes it feels like, wait, am I supposed to know this? Like, they're talking about it like this is just a fact that I should have understood by now, and I don't. So
yeah, no. I personally think that all the confusion is on purpose. But with the relics, this has been a big topic, at least on Book Talk. I've made a few videos on it. Some people don't agree with me, some people do. It's whatever. So the way I understand it, it is not the relics that give the marked ones their second signets. The relics, that's all the relics do, is they mark them as the Separatists' kids, who, that shows what side they're on. That shows that they would be willing to fight in the rebellion against Navarre to help defeat the Venom. And so the dragons have been purposefully seeking out riders who are descendants of their past riders. So that way they will have a stronger bond. They will give that rider more power and develop a second signet. I do think it's confusing the way that Violet asks it, because she does ask, how many times do second signets come with these particular relics? She says it that way, but my proof for my point is Xaden basically says that it happens enough for it to be useful, pretty much, but not enough to where Kaori would question why he may not have accurate records. So he's saying it doesn't happen all the time.
But do you think he's just saying we don't tell them that we have second signets, we just tell them about some of them?
See, maybe I'm assuming that some of them would know, or maybe they used to know and they stopped making that public knowledge. But the reason I fully believe this is because I think it was the Fantasy Fangirls, when they interviewed Rebecca Yarros in Colorado, they asked Rebecca, how is it Kaori doesn't have proper records of dragons, of marked ones, purposefully bonding new riders that are descendants of their past riders? And Rebecca Yarros says, well, haven't you ever noticed that after threshing, it's the dragons who give their names to be told? How do you know they're giving their real name? And that blew my mind. So that's why I think it's not the relics. It's the dragons are lying about their names, purposefully bonding with relatives from their past riders.
So do you think the signets from the past riders are the ones that are becoming the second signets? Like, it's the same as their
I
ancestor?
don't know.
That would make sense to me.
That would be cool. That would be cool. That would kind of make sense.
Do we ever know, like, because who was it that Xaden was related to?
I think it was either his grandfather or his great-grandfather.
Do we know what his signet was?
I don't think so.
That would be interesting to find out.
It is interesting. I loved getting to learn some of the other marked ones' second signets, like Imogen can, for lack of a better term, earthbend, I think, because she turns that shield into like stone in her chapter to protect Dane.
Yeah. Wait, what is her signet again? She can erase the memories.
And that's a big thing.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing in this book. But anyway, that's how I interpret the second signets, because I've seen a lot of people think, wait a minute, Xaden has his second signet from being a descendant of one of Sigale's past riders, so he's going to get a third signet from his relic. I don't think he's going to get a third signet. I don't think that the relics give you the signets.
Yeah. Because it was more of a protection thing, right? Of like, if they're together with other marked ones, then they can't.
Then Melgren can't see the outcome of a battle. Yeah. So I think the marked ones really, it's the protection and just to mark them. Like, that's what I think it is. I don't think it gives them a second signet. Imogen does a lot in this book. Okay. And like, she does a lot in this book that we know about and that we don't know about.
Yeah.
I.e. the last sentence in this book, what you asked me to. Another big thing that people have wondered is, okay, so if Violet had Imogen erase her memories, doesn't Imogen know it, and wouldn't she get in trouble?
Well, could she erase her own memories?
Well, I personally don't believe that Imogen takes in a memory that she's erased, because
like she doesn't learn about it.
Yes. I mean, I feel like it's really not far-fetched to think that she's trained this signet enough to just know when a certain amount of time has been erased. And because I am not a part of the belief that Imogen was there with Xaden and Violet in those 12 hours. Yeah. Because when Violet comes back and Brennan is there and that other sergeant is there and they're talking about the number of riders that were missing, he says, we have 5 riders missing. Then he looks at Violet, who's standing there with Imogen, and he goes, now 4. So Imogen wasn't among the missing riders. So Imogen was not with them. And so I don't think Imogen knows the memories. I think that Violet might have said, erase my memories, erase the whole time I've been gone. And I think Imogen is just able to do it without knowing. Because a lot of people think that Imogen was there and that's how she knew to erase Violet's memories. No, I think Violet just ran up to her and was like, you need to erase my memories right now. Which, speaking of the last 12 hours, or these 12 hours is going to like haunt my brain for the next 2 years.
I saw some, I think it was somebody on TikTok said they need to make like a Hangover style story of what happened in the last 12 hours.
Oh my gosh. Because I can't even imagine, because we know slightly they got married, but that would not have taken 12 hours.
Well, okay, so there's 6 eggs missing.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think the Venom took those eggs.
I don't either.
I think it was... Okay, another thing. Auric, he is playing chess while everyone plays checkers.
Yeah.
And I had a sense that he could see the future pretty early
something
on.
Was up, but I didn't. I was so stupid until it
because
was announced.
Because he was knowing things that we were not knowing. And he was spoon feeding her hints.
Yeah. Save the temple.
And she's like,
save the temple. That's how you save Tyrandor.
What is he talking about? We're not even, I'm like, he's giving you vital information.
Auric, I wasn't ready for Auric to play this big of a role.
I knew he was going to be big because a
lot of people thought he was the distance wielder.
Yeah, I could have
No one knew that he'd be a genuine precog.
Yeah.
We knew that was probably coming. I did not see it.
I like him a lot. He's probably one of my favorite characters because
I like him a lot in this book.
He's very knows who he is as a person despite his
he hates Halden, which is
like his family.
If you hate Halden, we like you.
Like, he's very smart. He's very even keeled. Mm-hmm. I like him a lot, and he kind of works behind the scenes. He doesn't want to be front and center for a number of reasons, but he's just not that kind of person. I don't think so. I like him a lot. I think he's gonna play a huge part. I think he did play a huge part in the last 12 hours.
I think him and Xaden have been working together without us realizing it. Because Xaden would know with his intrinsic abilities. I think he would know that Auric was manifesting his signet.
Maybe.
And Xaden, they're in one of the Isle Kingdoms, and they were in danger. And Xaden makes a comment about how he has really complicated loyalties to Auric, and that's just not explained.
Would that mean because of who his dad is and he's...
But he killed Auric's brother during threshing of his first year. He does not give a crap about the fact that they're royal kids. He does not care. But for some reason he cares about Auric, and he cares about Auric dying. So I think that Xaden knew the whole time that he was manifesting, and I think that they were working together. And I
That
think
could be.
I think they clued Violet in at the end is what I think. So the 12 hours, this is roughly how I think things went down.
Okay.
Roughly. And what's so funny is I got slightly chewed out for this on TikTok because heaven forbid I like didn't say that it was Violet's plan. So I think Arik and Xaden have been working together, and maybe they were cluing in Violet and maybe she was getting her memory erased. That is a big possibility because the first chapter is her and Imogen and they start to work together. There is like one possible moment in this book that I found that it could have been Imogen erasing her memories. But we don't see the same side effects that she has at the end. Mm-hmm. So that's up for debate. But I think that Xaden and Arik have been working together. I think once Xaden does his big show at the end and realizes he's exposed himself, he's like, great, I can't stay here. I've gotta go. So I think that there was some plan that him and Arik had. Maybe Violet was a part of it. Because Violet would never agree to what it looks like at face value, which is, whoopsie, I'm too far gone. I gotta go. Let's get married. So you get Tyrandor, but then I'm gonna go and
just like
you're gonna have your memory erased.
Yeah.
There's no way she'd agree because I think that he knew she would get her memory erased. Otherwise, he wouldn't have left the note. He wouldn't have left the note if he thought that she would have remembered everything. There's no way Violet would agree to that. So I think that there was some plan. Do I know what that is? Yeah. Absolutely not.
And like there's some sort of hope of this giving them a chance to either fix him or figure out more about.
Yeah, I think that they're gonna try and like do something to the venom on the inside out. I think. Yeah. And maybe the plan involved the eggs that go missing at the end, or Xaden was like, I'm gonna leave you breadcrumbs to get back to me.
I think that
I hope that we see that. I hope he leaves her clues.
Yeah.
And I think it's clearly some plan that she just can't know at that moment.
And so, okay, so do we think that their bond now, where they can kind of like talk to each other through their minds, that is broken now? Because I know it talked about like something kind of snapping.
At the end, she can't feel him and she doesn't know if it's broken or if he's just far away.
Yeah.
I don't know
because then my question is, do we think she's going to visit him in his dreams?
I hope so. That's what everyone thinks. That's how they're going to talk. That's how. Because if we do not get their wedding on page somehow, I'm writing a letter to Rebecca. I will be so upset. This will be the second time in all of the books that I have read that there has been an off-page wedding, and I hate it. I'm not a fan of it. So I think that somehow that's how she's gonna find him. That's how. Yeah, I would like to think so, because I mean they could do it over long distances. She could still do it when Andarna was technically gone. So there's a lot of semantics that we don't know.
Speaking of Andarna, there's a lot going on that I'm a lot confused about, because right before the very end of the book, Andarna leaves with the rest of the Irids to go learn about being an Irid, and then all of a sudden she's back at the end.
I saw a theory for this that I so agree with, that the Irids can affect time, and that she was actually gone a lot longer.
I agree with either
because she
the
could fly on her own when she came back.
I didn't catch that.
Do you think that her wing, she was gone for years and now her wing's fixed?
Maybe. Because, I mean, I think the time thing is involved somewhere. I think that is the most likely. The other thing would be, like, teleportation or, like, distance wielding sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think time makes more sense because when she was little, that was, like, her...
She could slow time.
Yeah, she could stop time, so that makes sense to me.
And there's so much about the dragons, like, they're supposed to play a huge part in this, and we've not seen a lot of that yet. So if they can affect time, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I think they probably can. And I think the Irids that they met on the beach are very, very, very old.
Yeah.
Because they had some, like, godlike wisdom and...
Screw them. The way that they were so mean to her, I was crying that whole time. I was like, I cannot believe
and the way that they
this.
spoke about, like, humans and stuff was very, like, philosophical and, like, are trying to see how humans have like evolved or devolved with time. Like, have they gotten
there was
better?
a lot going on there.
Yeah,
like
so
talking about their children evolving, even like
yes,
it was a lot.
So I think they're very, very old, and
Yeah.
they're like kind of the leaders or the like original
Dragons,
Yeah,
even. Yeah,
maybe.
I think so. And maybe the other dragon dens are like descendants from theirs.
Yeah.
Even. I don't know.
And
I agree. We're gonna find out so much, hopefully, in the next book.
yeah, also the 6 dragon eggs that were taken at the end. I think Auric or somebody on like our side took those and
I
put them
agree.
somewhere to keep them safe because they need all of those to power a ward.
There's a few theories that I'm so down with, and that's one of them for sure. All right, last big topic that we want to talk about for Onyx Storm is the note. And what's it mean? Because there's a lot of theories. This note seemingly is very short, very straight to the point. No, I think it has a much bigger meaning, and so does everyone else that I've seen. I think this note was more for show. I think it was more for everyone around Violet rather than just for Violet. Because I think Xaden knew that everyone was going to come after him, because even the sergeant who's with Brennan makes a comment about how Violet is the quickest way to Xaden. And I think a lot of people think that's why Andarna also said, I won't let them burn you. I think that they were thinking of killing Violet because they would hope the chain reaction would happen and it would kill Xaden. So
that would make sense because I've like been thinking about her saying that, and she's like, "Why would my brother burn me?" Because the other theory I had seen that people think that Brennan may be Venom.
Is Venom. Oh, something's going on with Brennan. I don't know what it is, but it's sus. But yeah, so I think that the note was more for everyone around her. I think that it was to kind of give Violet something, because like I said, I think that Xaden knew she was going to get her memory wiped. And I think it was more to publicly separate her from him, kind of to show everyone that she seemingly has nothing to do with what he's doing, what he's done. And so that way they won't punish her.
So what exactly does the note say again?
It says just basically, it's yours now, don't come looking for me. A lot of people also think that when he says it's, that he's not talking about Tyrandor.
Yeah, because he calls it she.
He always calls it she. So a lot of people think that he's really talking about his soul, which that's a whole, I love that idea.
I think there could be some merit to that. It gets a little like the Horcruxes and...
Yeah, in the ring, in his ring, in her ring. And a lot of people wonder too if that's why they had to get married in the temple. If they were able, because like there's a lot of talk about the goddess of Dun or Dune and how she can like cleave the soul from people, and like there's a lot of talk about that, which I'm really interested to pay attention to that in my reread. But yeah, I think that's what I think this note is. I'm totally on board for he's talking about his soul. And I think the don't come looking for me was for everyone else. I don't think that was really for Violet. I just think that was for everyone else to kind of separate her from him.
Yeah, I could get behind that. Yeah, I think it's definitely not about Tyrandor. I think it could be referring to his soul. I don't know what else it could be.
I mean, it's one of the two.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think it's Rebecca Yarros here. I don't think it is what it seems to be on the surface. It has a deeper meaning. I'm really excited to see it, hopefully in the next book, if she makes us wait. She makes us wait till the last book when we already have to wait 2 years for the next book. If we don't get answers. If we don't even see Xaden until the 5th book, I'm going to be upset, but yeah. I don't know.
I think he's going to be working on the inside. I think even though he is like fully Venom now, he's not going to be evil per se.
Well,
I don't know.
The big thing why people think that his soul is in there is because, the no wait, which just breaks my heart. Him at the end when he is like, he's channeling, he's about to lose himself. She says through the bond, I love you. And somehow, it's so interesting how we get to see that from his point of view. We get to see that also, he like describes it as like before his whole being is like just crusted over with like venomous, like that I love you went in there and it left a little piece of his soul untouched.
Yeah.
And so some people think that he physically put that in that ring so that could never be lost. So he would always have a piece of himself.
And maybe
I don't know.
if
Anything
they're
is possible.
Yeah, and maybe if they're able to cure venomism in some
Yeah,
way,
if they're
that
not
he can
before
get
they're
that,
fully gone.
he can get that piece back.
I think the Irids do know, and I think they were just lying because they made it clear they didn't think the humans were worthy, and of what I don't know, but I honestly think that they know, and maybe Andarna knows now. Maybe she learned that because I think she was gone a lot longer than she was.
Yeah.
Well, that has been our first podcast here at Bookwyrms. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this and you want to see more videos like this, like and subscribe. If you have any questions about Fourth Wing or the whole Empyrean series that you would love for us to talk about, let us know.
Yeah, and we have some more fun things planned for future episodes. Different bookish themed activities, like maybe taking some book themed quizzes. Talking about different tropes that we like and don't like in books, more Onyx Storm theories, more thoughts about books that we're reading. We love going to Ren fairs, so we might post some Renaissance content at some point when the season starts up, but lots of fantasy and book themed things that we're thinking about doing for this.
Yeah. So if that's your vibe, give us a follow, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody.